This is the third time in 11 years Whistling Straits has hosted the PGA Championship, and today marks the final round of a tournament that's been more than 2 years in the making. Our Sunday morning spotlight features one of the many individuals responsible for making this major event happen, Dirk Willis.
If you're just dropped here from a plane and blindfolded, then you took your blindfold off, and someone asked you where you were, you would think you were on the North Sea or coastal Ireland.
That is precisely the response resort visionary Herb Kohler was hoping for when he partnered with Hall of Fame golf course architect Pete Dye to build a championship course that honors the roots of the game.
I believe Mr. Kohler's only direction to Pete Dye at the time was build me Ballybunion in the middle of Wisconsin.
Ballybunion, a famous Irish links course founded in the late 1800s that bears the name of the coastal resort community where it's located in County Kerry, Ireland.
And that's essentially what Pete did, build me Ballybunion in the middle of Wisconsin, and now we have Whistling Straits.
Dirk Willis is director of golf at Whistling Straits and Kohler Company's other Pete Dye designed championship golf complex, Black Wolf Run. Not a bad place to come to work every day, even in the winter.
No, I have to pinch myself every day. I mean, even in the winter, I look out my office window and the snow's covering the dunes, and it's still pretty spectacular. Come back to the roots of the game of golf.
Willis started playing golf at the age of 10 growing up in Platteville. He earned all-state honors in high school and was named all-conference in college. He still shares his passion for the game, serving as coach of the Kohler High School boys and girls golf teams. What can you say to non-golfers about the game of golf and the allure?
Well, I think the game of golf is a difficult game, but it's also, that's what makes it great.
You say that golf is a difficult game, but that's what makes it great. The same can be said, I would imagine, about Whistling Straits.
Well, Whistling Straits is it's an amazing property, and it's an amazing achievement by Mr. Kohler and Mr. Dye to create something like this, to have the vision to create a walking-only links-style golf course in the middle of Wisconsin. It truly was ahead of its time.
Where drivers and irons now launch golf balls across the rugged and windswept terrain, American soldiers used to fire shells from anti-aircraft guns at drones and targets towed by military aircraft over a no-sail zone in Lake Michigan.
Yeah, back in the 1950s, this facility, this land was perfectly flat. It was actually an anti-aircraft military base called Camp Haven, and there were actually runways on the property.
Named after the unincorporated community nearby, Camp Haven was a training facility for troops from 1949 to 59. After it closed, the land was sold to a utility company which planned to build a nuclear power plant here but never did. It was sold to Kohler Company in the 1990s.
They were looking to develop a property that would be able to host major championships. So they went looking for land. They just happened to come upon this land and worked with WEPCO Power Company to purchase the land from them and develop it. And basically started with a blank slate.
A flat, 2-mile-long blank slate transformed by moving 1 million tons of earth and hauling in thousands of truckloads of sand. The result? A modern-day link-style course along a Lake Michigan bluff that harkens back to the early days of seaside golf. How did Herbert Kohler come up with the name Whistling Straits?
Rumor has it that Mr. Kohler was on the property walking the land with Pete and his team, and the wind was howling one day, and it was whistling, and he thought, wow, Straits, I'm on the Straits of Lake Michigan and the wind's whistling, and it just sort of popped into his head, I think, one day.
The wind off this great lake not only whistles, it whips and howls, sometimes at a moment's notice.
Dirk, weather is what makes this course unique, and we've experienced a lot of weather, different kinds of weather.
Just in the last 30 seconds, we've seen a little bit of a shift. The winds come off of the lake, got a little bit overcast, and the temperature dropped about 10 degrees. And that's what happens out here. You can go out in the golf course expecting one thing, and then all of a sudden the wind switches, and you've got an entirely different golf course. That's kind of the Jekyll and Hyde personality of this golf course. Under benign weather conditions, it's I wouldn't say easy, but it's scoreable. When it gets weather conditions get a little tougher, that's when the teeth come out, and it gets very, very, very challenging.
Challenging enough to host its third PGA Championship in 11 years.
What is it like hosting a major?
Well, basically, it's fantastic. There's so much energy and excitement around it. Obviously, it's a lot of work once it gets here, and the thousands of volunteers and people have put all their hard work into it. You know, it really shows when the event's here, and then you're on the world stage with everyone to see for that week.
From the manicured greens to the golden brown fescue and shimmering blue water, the course presents extremely well on television. However, we toured some behind-the-scenes features that are best seen in person.
Dirk, there's quite the history in these timbers that form this pergola.
Yeah, these timbers came from local barns that are over 100 years old. They're all hand-hewn timbers, and we've rebuilt them a couple times over the last 15 years, but it's all reclaimed lumber. We've got the main clubhouse building, which was built in 1997, but it looks like an old Irish farmhouse. Then we've got the middle building here, which we call the Irish Barn. It's an open-air building that we use as a banquet pavilion.
And then there's the plush and privacy of the Champions Locker Room.
VJ means victory.
PGA history, albeit recent, is found on every locker.
We do keep the players' names on the locker, so say Tiger Woods comes to every PGA Championship, he's going to have the same locker. So you see his locker number 32 right here. That's the locker that he used for the 2004 and 2010 PGA Championships. We rent this out to corporate groups throughout the year, so they get kind of a kick out of that. They walk in here when they get a locker. They don't necessarily know that walking in they're going to get Tiger Woods' locker or Phil Mickelson's locker. It's kind of a surprise for them.
Willis echoes the sentiments of legendary golfer Bobby Jones, who once said, "Golf is the closest game to the game we call life. You get bad breaks from good shots, you get good breaks from bad shots, but you have to play the ball where it lies."
It reflects life. I mean, you know, everything about it, the integrity of the game, you know, going out there and, you know, being on your own and trying to do the best you can and putting forth that effort, and, you know, you can't beat it. And again, it's just like life. It shows you what's great about life and what's great about, you know, that kind of effort and that kind of dedication.